Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again on Kids Corner for Armstrong Cable Channels 20 and 100. I'm Miss Alene and today we're at Poland After School. We've got a whole lot of fun planned for you. It is slimy, squirmy, wormy slime time. So stay tuned for that and more on Kids Corner. How is everybody today? Good. I'm Miss Alene, and I want to say thank you for hanging out with us for Kids Corner today. You guys ready to have some fun?
Yes.
Alrighty. So today, we've got a lot of fun planned for you. We've got some squirmy, wormy things. We've got some super silly, squirmy, wormy things. And then we've got a special squirmy, wormy, super slimy surprise coming up. You ready? All right, let's get started on our first story. And this one is called Diary of a Worm. Does anybody know what a diary is?
Yes.
Can you tell me what a diary is?
It's where, like, if you have something that you don't want to tell somebody and you put it in a book and there's a lock on it.
Okay.
Personal thoughts.
Personal thoughts, something that you don't want to tell. Sometimes you put your secrets there, your personal thoughts. What about you?
You put all your secrets in it.
Yep. And sometimes people just write a daily journal kind of thing where they just write down whatever happened so that one day they can look back and go through it and go, oh my gosh, that's what happened when I was 8 on that day, on that Monday. That was so cool, or that was a bummer, but it was all better the next day. So does anybody here keep a diary? I used to keep a diary. I haven't kept a diary in a long time. Anybody do journal writing sometimes? That's kind of the same thing. So we've got here Diary of a Worm. Do worms keep diaries?
No.
At least not that we know of. It'd be pretty weird though if there is like such thing as a worm diary somewhere in the world. Anyway, but yeah, no, worms don't generally, as far as we know, keep diaries, but this worm does. This worm has a lot of things going on. And this story is by Doreen Cronin. Me and Spider, my first tunnel. The family vacation on Compost Island. So our worm here has little pictures that maybe he's put into his diary. March 20th, Mom says there are 3 things I should always remember. 1, the earth gives us everything we need, and that's him. 2, when we dig tunnels, we help take care of the earth. Must make tunnel, help earth breathe. So he's working really hard there at helping the earth. And 3, never bother Daddy when he's eating the newspaper. Not reading the newspaper, eating the newspaper. That's pretty funny, huh? March 29th. Today I tried to teach Spider how to dig. I wonder how that's going to go. Do spiders dig the way that worms do? Probably not. No, they don't. First of all, his legs got stuck. And Spider says, I think I've twisted one of my ankles. And then he swallowed a bunch of dirt. And Worm just says, you know what, I give up. It's just not going to work. So tomorrow he's going to teach me how to walk upside down. Wonder how that's going to work out. March 30th, Worm cannot walk upside down. It didn't work out so well. April 4th, fishing season started today. We all dug deeper. And we know that they're kind of trying to stay away from the fishing poles because they don't want to be part of the fishing pole process. Did you guys hear something? They're hiding from people digging for worms. April 10th, it rained all night and the ground was soaked. We spent the entire day on the sidewalk. Hopscotch is a very dangerous game. Has anybody ever seen the sidewalk after it rains and the worms that come out onto the sidewalk when it rains? Anybody ever had to dodge worms on the sidewalk because you're trying to walk and it's super squishy, slimy, ewy worms everywhere? Yeah, I've had to. One time I went outside after it rained and there was an entire parking lot. I don't even know how this happened, but there was an entire parking lot that was pretty much just worms everywhere, and I had to watch everywhere I stepped so I wouldn't squish our little friends here. And how would hopscotch work out for them if there were worms all over the sidewalk?
It gets stuck. It would be terrible because they would be squished.
Yeah, they would probably get squished if they're not extremely careful and move really fast out of the way. So, worms generally don't move that fast though, do they? Anybody ever watched a worm move? Kind of squiggly wiggly, takes a while to get everywhere, right? Yeah, they're kind of slow. April 15th, I forgot my lunch today. I got so hungry that I ate my homework. My teacher made me write, "I will not eat my homework," 10 times. When I was finished, I ate that too. April 20th, I snuck up on some kids in the park today. They didn't hear me coming. I wiggled up right between them and they screamed. I love when they do that. Anybody ever been gardening and you come across some of our little worm friends here? Has it ever made you scream because you weren't expecting to just have your hand in it and you go, ugh? I've screamed. I'm kind of a squeamish one like that. And you would think I'd be used to it by now because I know that when you dig in the dirt, there's worms. But for some reason, almost every time I come across a worm that I'm not expecting, I'm still like, ugh! It's pretty bad. May 1st, Grandpa taught us that good manners are very important. So today I said, "Good morning" to the first ant I saw. There were 600 more of them in line. That's gonna get tiring. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? Good morning. Nice to see you. Howdy, good morning. Do you think you could say hi to every ant you saw?
No.
I think I'd be pretty tired, probably by like the 10th or 20th one, I'd give up. I stood there all day, Worm says. But he tried. May 8th, I had the worst nightmare last night. A giant bird was playing hopscotch. Mom says I have to stop eating so much garbage right before I go to bed. May 15th, I got into a fight with Spider today. He told me you need legs to be cool. Then he ran and I couldn't keep up. Maybe he's right. May 16th, I made Spider laugh so hard he fell out of his tree. Who needs legs? May 28th, last night I went to the school dance and you put your head in, you put your head out. Anybody know what comes next? You put your head in and then you shake it all about normally. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and then that's all we could do. Why? Can anybody tell me what usually comes next?
Arms and then legs.
And arms and then legs. So you usually put your hand in, you put your hand out, and
But they don't have any legs.
there you go. So all they could do was put their head in, put their head out, and do the hokey pokey. That was a pretty short dance, I think. June 5th, today we made macaroni necklaces in art class. I brought mine home and we ate it for dinner. And Dad Worm says you're very talented. June 15th, my older sister thinks she's so pretty. I told her that no matter how much time she spends looking in the mirror, her face will always look like her rear end. Spider thought that was really funny too. Mom did not. And we see Mom is telling Worm that she didn't think it was very funny. July 4th, when I grow up, I want to be a Secret Service agent. Spider says I will have to be very careful because the president might step on me by mistake. It's a dangerous job, I told him, but someone's got to do it. July 28th, 3 things I don't like about being a worm. 1, I can't chew gum. 2, I can't have a dog. And he's asking, can we keep him, Mom? And 3 is all that homework. July 29th, 3 good things about being a worm. 1, I never have to go to the dentist. 2, I never get in trouble for tracking mud in through the house door. And 3, I never have to take a bath. And Mom is saying, who's my grubby little boy? August 1st. It's not always easy being a worm. We're very small, and sometimes people forget that we're even here. But like Mom always says, the earth never forgets we're here. And that is the end of Diary of a Worm. Did you guys like that?
Yes.
Okay, we have one more quick story, and then we're getting to our super slimy art project. And this is called The Worm Family. And it's by Tony Johnston. The worm family was highly skinny and squiggly and long. There were many of them, Mother and Father and Albert and Evangeline and Blanche and Tiny Rose and Uncle Herm. Whenever they saw one another, they embraced, exclaiming, "Oh joy, we're worms." One day, the worms found a sweet little place, so they moved all the squiggly, wiggly, and skinny and long. And the neighbors were bugly and squat and green as leaves. "Worm, worm, worm," they shouted, most unpleasantly. "Yes, indeed," we replied, utterly pleased to be. The neighbors yelled, they threw things, and like bells and valises and toothbrush and mush, they threw things. Gosh, the worm family didn't like that song. "We're moving on," said Father, "to where worms are a glorious thing." Off they drove in the skinny car, Mother and Father and Albert and Evangeline and Blanche and Tiny Rosa and Uncle Herm. They sang a splendid worm song. "We are worms and we are proud, we are long and we are loud." The worm family came to a town. They parked and squirmed and wormed about. Whenever they saw one another, they rollicked about, exclaiming, "Oh joy, we're worms." The neighbors were glossy and bossy and striped like mints. They stared at the worms and winced. They shouted, "Worm, worm, worm!" "We're worms for sure," the worms rejoiced. "Who needs more?" The neighbors threw things, a whole list. Then they clenched their fist. Oh, what a sting! The worm family collapsed as limp as string. Mother said, "Show your spines." And we don't have spines, said Evangeline. "Never mind," said Mother, "pretend." So they got up real tall and straight. So they stood as tall as dinky trees, ever wiggly, wriggly one. And still Father said, "We're moving on to where worms are a glorious thing." They plunged off their skinny car, Mother and Father and Albert and Evangeline and Blanche and Tiny Rosa and Uncle Herm. They warbled and grand worm songs they sang. "We are worms and we are proud, we are long and we are loud." The worm family reached a charming spot. They parked and joked and giggled a lot and went their wormy way. Whenever they saw one another, they wiggled, exclaimed, "Oh joy, we're worms." So they're pretty happy about being worms, but everywhere they go, people are not very happy to see them. Our neighbors were thick and speckled as eggs, and when they put on their spectacles, they looked stunned. "Worms, worms, worms," they blustered and flustered. They threw things and clenched their fists and hissed. The worm family felt glum. They flumped and slumped to the ground. Mother said, "Chins up." "We don't have chins," said Blanche. "Never mind," said Mother, "pretend." So they held their chins high, everyone, Mother and Father and Albert and Evangeline and Blanche and Rosa and Uncle Herm. Even so, Father said, off we go to where the worm is a glorious thing. Nope, the worm stops here, boomed Uncle Herm. Uncle Herm stood firm. We will show the world the glory of the worm. So the worm family settled down and sipped coffee downtown and went to museums and learned languages and regaled one another with thrilling poems and played razzmatazz on the slide trombone. All the while they tipped their chins to the sun. And one day the neighbors came pounding on the door. They were fuzzy and wuzzy and highly frizzy from the tops of their heads to the tips of their toes. The worm family froze. They were distraught and distressed and together discomposed. But quickly they reminded themselves, spines, chins up. They braced for the utmost worst. But first, before the neighbors could fling one thing, they belted out a wild worm song. We are worms and we are proud. We are long and we are loud. We noticed that, remarked the neighbors. An utterly glorious thing. Welcome. They thrust sweet bouquets on them, one for every worm. Huzzah, 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 the worm family whooped. You are all quite glorious too, peeped tiny Rosa in a tiny little voice. In a different way, said Albert. Isn't that great? And so that ends our worm family story. So they found a place where they settled down, and instead of being run off because they were different, they just showed everybody how different was cool. And the people who lived next door to them saw that and started to appreciate them and came over and said, hey, you're pretty cool. We like that. And now they're friends and everybody's happy. Everybody like that story?
Yes.
Okay, guys, are you ready for our super slimy, squirmy, wormy slime project?
Yes.
Let's hit it. Today we are going to do our 2-ingredient, easy peasy, super fun, squirmy, wormy slime art project. It's not really an art project, it's more like slime time. Anyhow, this is how we do it. I tried a lot of slime ingredients, a lot of slime concoctions, and only one was a quick, easy peasy fix if you want slime. I used Tide, and I'm not trying to brand name, but literally Tide was the one that worked. So we got some Tide, and we just got regular glue, so regular Elmer's or off-brand white glue, or you can use clear glue if you want clear slime. So what we did was we measured out in our very cute, very fun, non-glass plastic mixing bowls, some glue into the bottom of our bowl. You guys can take your plastic off. If you want to set up ahead of time, just stick some plastic on top so your glue doesn't dry out. And what I did was I got the glue ready, measured out enough. I didn't need a lot. We're only going to make a small batch of slime each. Now we're going to take our tiny little cup of Tide, and you don't put a lot. You're going to start off, everybody watch, okay? If you put too much, at first, it may not mix right, so start off slow, put a tiny bit, just like that much. Everybody see how much I put in there? Just a tiny bit. You should see it kind of get a little bit gelatinous almost. So now you take a tiny bit more, keep stirring, just a tiny bit more Tide in there, and it should thicken up even more. And pretty soon what you'll see is as you start stirring, it'll start to stick to your mixer, and it will start to come off of the sides of your mixing bowl. add the rest of my Tide, and it should get nice and thick and goopy and gross, just like that. And gold slime shine. We have gone to any store. I got these from the dollar store, and they're actually eyeshadows. So I found these dust eyeshadows, and you just take them and add a little bit to your slime. I'm adding purple to this one. And then she's gonna start mixing that up a little bit, and then she's gonna pull her slime out and just kind of fold it in. And what she'll show you, show the camera, is her purple shine in her slime. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Miss Alene, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun here at Poland After School. So today we had a lot of super slimy, squirmy, wormy fun time. And I hope you guys enjoyed our easy peasy 2-ingredient shiny slime project. So until next time, make sure you tune in to Armstrong Cable channels 20 and 100 for Kids Corner. Until then, we say goodbye.